So as a massive Mortal Kombat fan, I actually really liked what they did with Mortal Kombat 1 in terms of reimagining everything. For example, turning Shao Kahn into General Khan, creating an incredible trio with Smoke, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, really exploring the family Edenia relationship with Sindel and her daughters Mileena and Kitana, and flipping the typical master-apprentice relationship with this time Liu Kang being at the top and Raiden being the one that he is teaching everything to. So whilst no doubt it's brilliant revisiting this universe and exploring more storyline material with these group of characters, unfortunately I just feel like Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns just totally lost everything that was brilliantly set up before this, as it didn't feel layered or gripping or deep, as it was just a melee battle after battle after battle with no substance and no depth. And this was just such a crying shame, as like I said, everything that they set up before this just had so much depth. I mean, sidelining all of the fan favorite characters and really focusing on Sectors, Cyrax and Havik could have been alright, as I am all for developing your B and C list characters so that they can be at the same level as all of the favorite A list characters. However, these particular versions of those characters were just so boring and they didn't have anything endearing or interesting about them, and so you could not get invested in this storyline. I mean, to this video game storyline's credit, it was nice to see a new take on the classic Scorpion versus Sub-Zero storyline, but this definitely felt like the B storyline, which was fine, as obviously Havik is going to be the main centerpiece. I just wish that they would have just made it more captivating. I mean, Rain and Tanya were alright. I mean, Rain's sacrifice was so unneeded, especially as Sector spent this entire game pretty much showing off about her armor. I'm sure she could have done something to save him. But similarly, I just feel like this setting and storyline just didn't allow these two characters either to really flourish. Lieutenant Cage didn't bring anything interesting to the table at all. On that point, they could have done something so brilliant and so interesting with all of these variants, but they just went on such a lame route. Two things that I did appreciate though was that firstly, they really gave Geras so much importance in this storyline, especially as he is the key that Havik is after. And I feel like Chaos Kenshi was a pretty cool character, and I feel like after Snowblind, Kenshi really has demonstrated how he could be front and center in a future video game. But like I said, apart from Kenshi, they could have done something so much more interesting with all of these other variants, especially as Havik has pretty much destroyed their worlds, turned them into chaos versions of themselves, but it seems in doing so, he has also made them really one-dimensional, and apart from his few right-hand men, they are just super psychotic and pretty brain-dead. The only character that really was developed, I think, was Beran, especially as he starts off as Sub-Zero and then very quickly becomes Noob Saibot. And I think out of everything in this video game expansion, that was pretty interesting, especially as he becomes really, really evil. And then when he does kind of turn back to good, when Liu Kang is able to wipe his mind clean, he has still got that devilish edge inside of him. And so I do hope that in the next installment, they really do focus on this guy, as he has got the potential of being really interesting. Even though it wasn't at the same level as Armageddon, you can kind of see that Havik is trying to create the same thing in terms of taking over all of the timelines and now using his version of the Infinity Stones to create absolute anarchy and chaos. And speaking of timelines, I did think it was a nice touch in the first game where they were really showing that Liu Kang's original timeline, all of those people are now pretty much titans in their own particular timelines. It would have been interesting to see Liu Kang revisiting them somewhat in this game, especially as Havik is now trying to take over all of them. But clearly they didn't want to focus on Liu Kang or his legacy characters and champions that really did dominate in the MK1 original game. I do wonder if in the next installment they really move away from all of these timeline based storylines. So overall, with Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns, even though it definitely did have its moments and we got to see more storyline materials set in this new reimagined Mortal Kombat universe, I just wanted and expected so much more from this expanded storyline, especially as I was one of the very few advocates of what they were doing with the soft reboot in MK1, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give this expansion a 4.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of MK1 Khaos Reigns? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.